So right now she has clean, fresh skin, and skincare is very important when doing your makeup for, you know, every day or doing your makeup for a special occasion. So she has beautiful flawless skin. She exfoliated the night before, and we just applied a light oil-free moisturizer without any SPF to start. So I just did her brows, and I did two different looks here. On this side here, we used a taupe brow pencil, and it's a little bit more of a softer feathered look in the brow. And this one we went with a brunette pencil, which is a little bit more harsh, kind of more of that tattooed on brow. I personally prefer a more natural feathered brow with the lighter side, because the whole point of filling in your brows is really to just draw attention to her beautiful eyes, not to draw attention to the brows. Okay, so next up we're actually going to talk about what color eyeshadow to do. So, you know, a frequent question that we get is always, you know, do I match my eyeshadow to my outfit or to my, you know, my suit in this case? And you don't want to do that. That's very like 80s, 90s, you know, years ago you used to be like, I'm wearing, you know, a green dress, I'm going to do the matching green eyeshadow. So tacky, we don't want to do that anymore. So what you want to really think about is two things. You can think about the color of her eyes, and then, you know, we can also do something that complements the suit. So maybe she's wearing a green suit, and we'll do maybe like a lower lash line that has like a soft green touch to it. But you don't want to do like emerald green suit, emerald green shadow, because it's like, where do I look? So what I always suggest is think about the color wheel. If you think about color theory, so if she has green eyes and you think of the color wheel, the opposite would be you have like your red and your orange colors, so your warmer tones. And that's what I would do for her, which also we're using a green suit as inspiration. So you could think of it that way. Also with green, you can go to, if you think of red, so you can go to purples, because red goes into purples, and purple is actually the perfect combination of warm and cool, because purple is red and blue. So warm and cool, so that's why it kind of goes with anybody as well. So if you want to add a little touch of something, you know, to match, you can do, like I said, the drop down shadow on her lower lash line, but you just don't want it to be bold matching the suit where you don't know where to look. And again, we want her to look beautiful. It's not a costume, it's stage makeup, but she still wants to look beautiful. So I'm actually going to go in with a light lid. I'm going to be using one of my favorite palettes, the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's like the best palette ever. Love this palette. It's good for everything. It's good for stage, for every day. You got some pops of color. It's good for bridal as well. You can tell I love this one. It's a mess. And then we're going to go in with a warm tone Morphe palette as well. And then I do have some customized MAC palettes that got some purples in there. And then one of my other favorite brands is actually this new brand here, Juvia's. And what I love about it is the color payoff. So if you are of darker skin tone, this really shows up on darker skin tone. Right now I'm applying foundation to her skin, and I'm actually using the Smashbox Studio Skin. It's 15-hour wear, sweat proof, humidity proof, and non-transferable. I chose this one because, again, it is high definition, so it won't have any flashback. It's medium to full coverage, buildable. And what I really love about it is really evens out her skin tone, but it's made for long wear. So the main thing you want to remember, again, is that it's a really long day, and it's also really, really hot. We all know this. When you're on stage with the stage lights or just being behind stage, your makeup tends to like melt off of your skin. So you want to use something that's long wear, full coverage, and something, definitely oil-free. So I used a shade that is matching the rest of her body for now, but when it comes to the competition, I like to go about 1 to 2 shades lighter than my body. Typically what I'll do is, usually you get sprayed, the day before, 1 or 2 coats, And then the morning of, you usually do your last spray, which is the really, really dark one. So if you match your foundation to your body, you know, beforehand, before you get that final coat, you're going to be about a shade or two lighter on your face. I personally prefer that. I think it looks a little strange when you're really, really dark in your face to match your body, because you still want to feel beautiful. And again, when you're on stage, it always looks lighter because of all the bright lights and everything that's on your face. So right now, again, we're just going in with the foundation, evening her out, and building anywhere we need additional coverage. But I mean, our model has flawless skin, so I really don't need to cover much. But this blends right in. Now, when you're choosing your foundation shade, you want to have a few different options on hand. If you're going to do your makeup yourself, if you're bringing it with you, you want to have a few different shades. So you're going to have a few deeper shades and then one that's a little bit more of a lighter one to highlight with. And I would say you want to stick to warmer tones. You don't want to go cool tones, because what's going to happen is it's going to look a little gray or a little bit ashy on the skin with your tan. So I'm just finishing off her look, setting it with my favorite, which is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, which is really important. So everything to keep your makeup on longer and staying better is what you need. So we emphasized using primers. We used a long-wear foundation. We also did our setting powder. I used a translucent setting powder underneath the eye. We used a foundation setting powder for the rest of her face. And then we followed up with using our setting spray. So everything you need to keep your makeup on throughout, you know, from 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning until, you know, you never know. It could be 2 in the morning when it's over. I also want you to notice too, you don't want to use a lot of highlighters. I know we all love highlighters, and you know that's like really trendy right now, but because of the hot lights and the long days, what happens is if you use a really, you know, glowy highlighter on top of sweating and the oils of your skin kicking in and like the hot lights, you're going to wind up looking very greasy on stage. So I would avoid using any kind of highlighters unless, you know, like me, I take a little bag with me at the show, and I usually take with me a pressed powder, my lip to touch up with, and if you want to add a little highlight before you hit the stage, you can always do it that way. What we did though is we used a concealer or a foundation in a lighter shade to highlight the face. So it's highlighting by giving her you know, an uplighting technique. She's lighter underneath the eye in this triangle shape. We did a little highlight down the nose, top of the forehead, above the lip, a little on the chin, but we did it with a concealer, so it's still matte. There's a difference. So whenever you highlight something, it's all about just bringing those forward, and when you contour, it's about bringing those things in. Because you're going to be darker colored, you're going to be a lot darker than Emily is here, you don't really want to worry too much about contouring. You want to focus more so just on creating dimension using the concealers, because you don't want to look flat. You still want to have that three-dimensional look to your face. So by using your darker foundation and your lighter concealer, you're able to give that three-dimensional look without using highlighters to bounce off light. Also, if you notice here, she has blush. Blush is very important. I say this to my clients all the time. You know, it might look like a little bit more when you're up close, like in front of your face, but from far away on stage, your blush is very important to give you life and give you that pop of color. And you always want to kind of match your cheek and your lip together. So we went with a bolder peachy tone on this side, and on this side she doesn't really have much color going on. She looks a little bit flatter, so there's not much pop of color, and it's just kind of a nude lip. You always want to remember that what I see in person is completely different when you're on stage. So that's why you always want to amp up the blush, amp up the lip color, and avoid, you know, highlighters, because again, with the lights reflecting, you're going to look more so shiny, and you want to love your stage photos because you work so hard for them, you know, over the past 14 weeks. So she looks absolutely beautiful on this side. This side is almost a little bit more kind of costume Halloween, but hey, you know, Halloween is right around the corner, so you can definitely you know, copy this look and use it for, you know, maybe a, what'd you say, a peacock?
Yes.
If you want to be a peacock, or maybe even a mermaid. But for this side, she's beautiful, and this would look beautiful on stage. You know, my stupid phone.
I'm taking a video. Emily selfieing herself, and it's really funny.